Hey, you've reached howtoplayanySong.com. My name is Joe with the Rock and Roll Conservatory, and in this video series, we're going to talk about the stripped down basics of guitar. It's kind of meant for the guitar player who just got their guitar. They don't know what all this stuff is. They don't know the names of their strings. And speaking of which, I've gotten a lot of email from people who, when I talk about in the rest of the guitar videos what strings I'm on, they don't know what I'm talking about. You have to understand the names of your strings, people. So we're going to go over that in this video series, and we're just going to cover a lot of the basics, a few chords, a few exercises, and just some stuff to get your feet wet, so to speak, on what this instrument is. Let's get started. Welcome back. In this video segment, we're going to talk about tuning our guitar. There's a number of different ways to tune your guitar. Most people just use an electronic device, and that's perfectly fine and normal. The hard part about using like a tuning device on your smartphone or buying a little electronic tuner from the guitar store is that if your guitar is way out of tune, it's not really going to help if you're just starting out, because that is not going to tell you whether your note's too high or too low. It's just going to be jangly strings. What we have to get good at when we're starting is matching pitches, making sure that our low E string matches another E note. Now, if you need a reference for an E note, you can use a piano if you know where the E note is on a piano. Some electronic tuners produce an A note. That doesn't help us when we're tuning our E. You can tune our A with it if you want. But the best way to do it is just go on the internet and type up E note, and it'll play an E pitch note for you, and you try to match that. Or you can just listen to this. This is an E note. Turned on. We're going to try to match your pitch to this pitch. Make sure it is. The thing about it is that you have to, every time you hit your own string, you've got to define whether your note is lower or higher and how far away it is. We're going to get into more about matching pitches in a moment. The way I like to tune my guitar is a really basic way. It's called relative tuning, or I call it fifth fret to the next open string tuning, which is kind of a mouthful. But the idea is that you go to the fifth fret of any string, and it should match the next open string. For instance, in the last segment, we went over the musical alphabet and how the notes came up the neck like this. Well, check it out. We have our E note here, which we'll figure out how to tune in just a moment. We'll figure out how to match that pitch. But we're going to climb up the chromatic alphabet, or the chromatic scale. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. We've hit an A note located on the low E string. That happens to be at the fifth fret here. This A note is going to be the exact same note as the next highest string. It should be if you're in tune. And it is, because I'm in tune. Let's pull that out of tune for a second. I made the A string just a little bit lower. Just put it out of tune by dropping it. Now these won't match. And you can hear that. This is what it sounds like when the string is too high. It just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sit well. So what we're going to do is take a note that's too low and bring it into pitch. Listen to my strings as they approach the exact same pitch. Something happens in the harmonics. Take a listen. While we're tuning, we always try to keep our left hand in place on the fifth fret, and our right hand actually reaches over and tunes the guitar. That means the notes can ring out while we're adjusting the tuners. And then we can hear it when it comes into pitch. Now, when the notes match, if you listen carefully, there's something that happens behind the notes. It's a wubbing sound, this difference in notes. As you approach the notes, that wubbing slows down. I'll show you what I mean. It's much easier to hear when you're distorted. All right, so I distorted my guitar, and this is what that wubbing sounds like when it's when you have two strings that don't match, the pitches don't match. Wub, 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 wub. And as you approach the right note, that wubbing slows down and stops. I'll show you what I mean. And then when it stops completely, they're match pitched. The same thing happens when the string is too high. Take a listen. You're going to hear that wubbing, right? Let's bring it down into pitch. and now they're the same pitch. Do you hear how that works? We repeat that process through most of the strings. We're going to come up to an exception. I'm going to detune my strings, the rest of them, and show you what tuning a guitar is like. So we just tuned the A string to the low E string. Sounds good to me. We're going to go to the 5th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th fret of the A string, which is a D note on the A string, which should match your next highest string, which is the D string. Again, the D note located on the 5th fret of your A string should be the exact same pitch as your next highest string open, the D string. This is what that sounds like when it's not in tune. What you have to do when you're trying to first match these pitches is identify whether that second note is too low or too high. If it's too low, we need to bring it up to pitch. And of course, if it's too high, we need to drop the pitch down to match. So think in your head, is this second note too low or too high? If you guess too low, you're absolutely right. We need to bring it up to pitch. Take a listen as we do that. And I make sure to tune slowly. We got to move it up very slowly and listen to the movement of the note as we bring it into pitch. Let's go to the 5th fret of the D string. And if you guess that's a G note, then you're absolutely right. The 5th fret of the D string is a G note. Let's discover that. Here's a D note on your D string, D sharp using the chromatic scale, E, F, F sharp, and then we find a G on the 5th fret. And if you remember the names of your strings, you remember that the next highest string is a G note as well, so they need to match. They're pretty close, but they're not quite right. In fact, I'm going to adjust it so it goes a little more out of tune, so we can hear the difference. What you've got to do is figure out and guess whether that's too low or too high. Take another listen. They're not the same pitch. You should be able to tell that. There's a discord between them, kind of a battling of the notes. But if you guess it's too low, you're absolutely right. We're going to tune it up into pitch. And that's about right. Now, here's where the exception comes in. Every good rule has an exception, and tuning a guitar is no different. We've gone to the 5th fret to tune the next open string, right? Well, the 4th fret of the G tunes the B. So we need to go to the 4th fret of the G. That's a B note on the G string. And it's going to tune your next highest string, which is your B string. Take a listen. Now take a listen again, and you think to yourself, is that too low or is it too high? If you guess too high, you're absolutely right. We need to bring the B string down in pitch to match that. Take a listen. This is what that sounds like. And those are the exact same note. To do the last string, we just continue the 5th fret rule. We're going to go to the 5th fret of the B string, and that should match the next highest string, which is an E. And if you guess that the note my finger's on is an E note, you're absolutely right. The 5th fret of the B string is an E note. It should match. And this is where you guess whether it's too low or too high. Take another listen. And if you guess too low, you're right. Let's bring it up to pitch. Take a listen. And now my guitar's in tune. If you need to repeat that process, the only way to get good at it is by repeating it. So keep it up. Practice tuning your guitar. If I make it look easy, I don't mean to. I've just been doing it for so many years. There's a technique to it. There's a learning curve to it, and you're going to want to take some time, put your guitar out of tune just a little bit, and practice tuning your guitar. You don't want to be caught in front of a bunch of people trying to figure out how to tune your guitar. That's a little embarrassing. So get good at that. Cool? All right, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, but I gotta let you know that there's higher quality video, more content, more stuff to learn and experience over at our actual website at howtoplayanysong.com. And when you get there, put in a request for a song that you want us to teach you. Take it easy.